The pathologist is a very important part of the anal research team. So I'd like to spend a few minutes just describing to you the important role we play in helping to prevent anal cancer. To understand what the pathologist does, we need to have a good understanding of the anatomy of the anal canal. There are three important zones. Superiorly, there's the delicate glandular epithelium of the lower rectum. Inferiorly, there's the squamous epithelium of the lower anal canal. And between the two, there's an area which is termed the transformation zone or the transition zone. And this is where the delicate glandular epithelium undergoes what's called metaplasia to become squamous epithelium. This TZ, as we call it, is the area which is most vulnerable to the effects of the human papillomavirus. This is the area we need to sample both with the anal pap test and with anal biopsy in order to elucidate what disease, if any, is present. Let's talk first about anal cytology, the anal pap test. Liquid-based cytology is much preferred to conventional cytology for anal specimens. Cellularity is enhanced, the material is better fixed, and there is less likely to be drying artefact and fecal contamination. The main challenge we find in anal cytology is achieving adequate cellularity. We need to have at least 2,000 nucleated squamous cells on the slide in order to report the slide as satisfactory. If there are fewer than 2,000 cells, or if most of the cells are anucleate, then we must report the slide as unsatisfactory and it will need to be repeated. We also like to be certain that the transformation zone has been sampled. In order to be certain of this, we need to see either squamous metaplastic cells or glandular cells from the lower rectum. Perhaps surprisingly, the anal canal is very like the cervix in terms of what the cytology and histology look like under the microscope. So the ideal people to be involved in reporting of these specimens are gynecological pathologists who are experienced in interpreting the changes seen in cervical cytology. In America, the Bethesda system, TBS, is used. In Australia, we have modified TBS somewhat, and we have what we call the Australian Modified Bethesda system. The two systems are very similar. Although a number of different terms are used in this reporting system, basically there are two categories: low-grade reports and high-grade reports. Low-grade reports can be possible low-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion or definite low-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion. The high-grade reports are either possible high-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion and definite high-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion. The anal pap test is quite good at telling us an abnormality is likely to be present. However, it's less good at predicting exactly what level of abnormality will be found when a biopsy is done. And for this reason, high-resolution anoscopy should be offered to all men who have any level of abnormality reported on their pap test. I'll briefly illustrate some of the appearances we see on anal pap tests. This is a low-grade pap test. These cells are called coilocytes and have quite a characteristic cleared halo around their nuclei. This reflects productive viral infection, which is usually transient. This is really what we're looking for, however, high-grade disease on the pap test. These cells are small but have a high nuclear to cytoplasmic ratio and very dense hyperchromatic nuclei. These are the cells we're really looking for on the pap test. These cells reflect a high-grade abnormality, that is, precancerous change. On the pap test, we call them high-grade squamous intraepithelial lesion, and they can be subcategorised into AIN2 or AIN3. AIN stands for anal intraepithelial neoplasia. AIN3 carries a greater risk of malignant transformation than AIN2. Let's look at low-grade disease and high-grade disease on biopsy. This is an example of low-grade disease caused by human papillomavirus. In this case, the virus has caused an exophytic lesion, which we colloquially call a wart or condyloma acuminatum. Low-grade disease can also occur in flat epithelium, which is not obvious with the naked eye. This is high-grade disease on anal biopsy. Here we see AIN2 and here AIN3. This precancerous abnormality has replaced the entire epithelial surface, as well as extending down the glands of the transformation zone. At this stage, there is no evidence of invasive cancer. However, this is the type of lesion which will, in some circumstances, give rise to an invasive lesion. This is an invasive squamous cell carcinoma, which has arisen from a high-grade lesion at the transformation zone. With greater awareness and with screening, we will probably start identifying these cancers at an earlier stage when the cancers are much smaller. When the anal canal is being examined, it's very important that the perianal skin is also carefully looked at. Human papillomavirus can cause warts and flat lesions in the perianal area. Again, these can be low grade, which tend to be transient, or high grade, which can be regarded as precancerous. There's still much we have to learn about anal cancer and anal precancer. Working together, we can each bring our particular expertise to the table in the hope that we can reduce the incidence of this terrible disease.